A storm's a comin', little John. I can feel it in the wind.
Whoa!
Oh, crap. I forgot how little he was. Well, that storm comes in the form of indie detective games. I feel like a few years ago there were only a couple, inspired by the likes of LA Noire and Ace Attorney, games that set the player out into a space, gave them a few tools with which they can dig through clues, and asked them to solve the game's core riddle. But you already know about detective games, don't you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Even knowing about them though, they can feel utterly impenetrable because of the steep learning curve some of these games have. So today, instead of breaking them down into types, let me tell you about the 4 layers of approachability in indie detective games. The best entry point for the detective genre of games comes in the form of the Mad Lib style, and none are better than Duck Detective.
You said duck?
No, like the animal. Duck Detective is the game that got me started on all this. While it is fairly simple, it does a great job of displaying the joy of cracking codes and mysteries. The game gives you this Mad Lib style panel which you need to fill out. You take the word key and try to piece together each part of it from the knowledge you've gained around the office in order to uncover who the salami bandit is. The real reason that Duck Detective is such a good entry point though is that it's funny. Your duck has a deep, burly, hardened voice. He's addicted to slices of bread and he takes this salami stealing setup as seriously as mallardly possible. Another game in this vein though, and one that's a whole lot more complex, is The Case of the Golden Idol. Me and my wife have been playing this one together and it is hard. The reason though that it still falls into the approachable section is that while its solutions and mysteries may be a weaving narrative web, the game always presents you with everything you need, and the Mad Lib style makes it so that each puzzle is just a matter of time before you figure it out. Our second layer of approachability comes in the form of open inquisition. Games that push you off into their open worlds and allow you to piece together all their clues. While these games do very little hand-holding, I think they're decently approachable due to their intuitive solutions. The Return of the Obra Dinn is an iconic game. It's got a unique art style that perfectly frames its time-traveling clues, an excellent premise with layers that peel back like an onion, and player-friendly solutions that may stump you for a second but always come together when you've done your proper research. It's an excellent starting game for the genre and leads perfectly into the Outer Wilds. I talk about the Outer Wilds pretty much every other week, but discovering the mysteries of the solar system strewn across multiple planets all in order to stop a sun from supernovaing is not only incredible in its premise, but perfect in terms of the feeling it gives you as you play detective across its open space. And also I get to fly this spaceship and I'm not gonna crash it. I crashed it. Now we enter the third layer and we start to look at games that can feel daunting to the player because of their heavy heaps of exposition. Disco Elysium is widely considered one of the greatest RPGs of all time. I have played it and I think it's really good. The world is fascinating, the characters feel so real and fleshed out, and the story has so much to say about society. It's an RPG game in which you build your own detective from an amnesiac cop trying to solve the murder of a guy hanging from a tree. It takes all of these systems and somehow makes a cohesive, fun experience. All that said, there is so much freaking reading in this game. Forgotten City, please come in here and have spoken dialogue.
Yes, I'm listening.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. The Forgotten City is a game that was once a mod of Skyrim, but now stands as one of the best detective games on the market. It's a fully fleshed out experience where you explore the city, talk to citizens, and try to figure out who's going to break the golden rule. And also, why is your face so ugly? Ugh. Talking to the citizens, making sure that they don't get everyone killed, and traveling back and forth in time all works cohesively in this experience to make the player feel all of those good detective vibes. Okay, we've reached the final layer of games, which are games that are kind of weird and totally unapproachable. I have now become a pretty big fan of the detective games genre, but some experiences still manage to feel unapproachable. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Her Story, and Immortality are all by every metric excellent games, but my god are they weird. Her Story is just a found footage web browser game where you can try to figure out if the lady killed her husband or not. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is a trippy weird game where you have to take out a pen and paper and do math. Yuck. And Immortality is the more refined version of Her Story. These games are all probably really great, but I'm gonna go back to playing as a duck now. Thank you. The recent rise of indie detective games has been an incredible sensation. Every single one of these games are excellent experiences which twist and turn and tug on your mind, but it can be relatively hard to get into these games as some of the barriers to entry are higher than most other genres. I hope today's video gave you a good jumping off point so that you can try out some of these excellent games, and while I may never play whatever the hell that is, maybe at some point you can, and you can tell me about how stupid I am for not figuring out that you just gotta tie the ropes together, and then you gotta do a kickflip off the edge, and then you gotta do 700 times 1 million divided by the square root of 73, and you go over the bridge. Bye-bye now. Bill's all about his Lorelei and the laser eyes, and she shoots lasers out of her eyes, and she's got the freaking teeth of our dragon, and that's, so yeah.